In the midst of the northern forest, there are places that defy the almost undefeatable pressure of forest growth. Surprising, because forests easily grow on almost every upland piece of land. Forest growth is driven by sunshine, moderate temperatures, and abundant rainfall. There are areas, however, that year after year are unable to grow woody plants that reach the stature of trees, and no forest is formed. In the colloquial, they are called barrens, balds, plains, meadows, meads, glades, or grasslands, all with low-growing vegetation. Sometimes only dwarf tree species, woody shrubs, grasses, and mosses grow on these barrens in the midst of widespread forests. These hearken to the open expanses of the savannas, prairies, or plains of the American Midwest and West. Barrens are one of 26 separate landscape communities in our classification for the northern forest. We find them interesting because of the variety they add to the landscape and the burst of ecological diversity they give to a predominantly forested area. Many of the flowers, ferns, and grasses found in these areas are locally rare and reminiscent of ecosystems located far, far away. Species that normally may be found in Midwestern prairies or northern boreal habitats can be found in these barrens. The flower prairie smoke is a good example of these rare plant species, which boost local plant diversity and are interesting components of these geographic islands. These rare plant populations may be needed by specialized insects to carry out their life cycle. Since these plants are at geographic extremes of their ranges, there may be genetic or climate change benefits we have yet to understand from their being here. The Karner blue butterfly is an example of a wildlife species dependent on a particular plant, typically found in a barren's habitat. Barrens often furnish panoramic vistas that are unique and remarkable because of the sweeping distance views they provide. Topographically, barrens can occur high on ridges, in tablelands, or in flat lowlands. All of these barrens are drylands, not wetlands. They may also be prone to seasonal inundation by water, frequent wildfires, or areas where cold air accumulates, making them frost pockets. All of these extreme ecological conditions make it difficult for trees to persist for long. In theory, there is paleoecologic evidence for this. Trees may eventually and gradually ameliorate conditions so that they may persist to form a continuous forest cover in some barrens, but even so, they remain very vulnerable to a catastrophic setback, like major windstorms or wildfire, that will clear the barren of trees, restart the successional clock, and start the sequence all over again. And time is not on the forest side. Barrens occur in areas shaped by geologic history. There may have been an extreme geologic scale event that formed the feature. Some barrens occur in areas where there is no accumulation of soil, that is, no fine mineral material nor any organic layer, no pebbles, sand, silt, nor clay. It's thought that the fine mineral particles that generally occur across landscapes were scoured away by an extreme flush of water, such as occurs when a dam holding back a large lake suddenly gives way. The torrent of water leaves behind a vast area of bare bedrock. The Altona Flat Rock Barrens and Chaumont Alvar Barrens are both thought to be formed this way, and are examples of bare bedrock, with some thin soils slowly colonized by lichen, mosses, and sedges over the 12,000 years since the glaciers retreated. The bare limestone at Chaumont Barrens has fossil cephalopods from 400 million years ago, when it was a shallow tropical ocean bottom somewhere near the equator. Barrens also occur on low-lying but dry sand plains, formed by interglacial streams depositing coarse particles of sand in vast flat areas. Eskers are larger versions of this type of deposit, formed from sediment-heavy rivers flowing under the vast ice layer during the last ice age. The Bay Pond Barrens and Oswegatchie River Plains are good examples of sandplain barrens. The conditions for sandplain barrens are droughty and infertile soils, prone to blowdown, subject to extreme temperature fluctuation, and susceptible to wildfires. To many people, why barrens occur is a mystery. Casual observers often wonder, what causes a barrens to stay open, and is this its normal condition? They also ask, will it stay like that forever? Some explanations include spiritual interventions, actions by aliens, or the role of past civilizations. One thing is certain, many of these areas have a history that preceded the early European colonists. The earliest fur trappers and explorers of the northern forest noted their presence and wondered about them. From the perspective of current-day observers, barrens seem to be diminishing in size and expanse as they very slowly revert to forests. Now, almost blanket suppression of wildfire could be allowing barrens to close in more rapidly. But the severe environmental conditions that favor their formation still persist, and it's a long list of negatives. Droughty, infertile soils, vulnerability to wind throw, susceptibility to wildfire, extreme cold temperatures, and seasonal flooding. These conditions can act in concert, and periodic severe climatic events can exacerbate, so over the long term the barrens communities may persist to the detriment of the forest, and to the benefit of rare plants at the extreme limits of their range. Ecologists worry that these islands of isolated habitats and the species inhabiting them may be driven to local extinction as temperatures and hydrology regimes change dramatically. Unlike forest communities, these barren plant communities do not have the ability to move geographically to nearby areas that better suit them.